This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's popping, man? All I can do is laugh right now, folks. The Knicks score 135 points and lose by double digits. Who would have thunk it? They scored 48 points in the first quarter. Set a franchise record. Had a 13-point lead. And it looked like they had the proper energy to start this game. Looked like they had the proper energy. They were motivated. They understood the road trip they had coming up and what they had to do today. That's what it looked like in the first quarter. Then it was all downhill from there, ladies and gentlemen. All downhill from there. This is a tough one to grapple with. A tough one to grapple with because offensively, they were able to score the ball. But defensively, they couldn't get a stop. Because even though they scored 48 points in the first quarter, they still gave up 35 or something like that. So OKC still scored the ball at a good clip in that first quarter. The Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, 145 to 135. They had people contribute all over the board, but so did OKC. The Knicks could just not get stops once again. The 3-point line, ladies and gentlemen. The 3-point line. They allowed OKC to bug out from the 3-point line. Ladies and gentlemen, when the Knicks give up threes, like I said before, I mean, they scored 135 points. So they could score it tonight. But when you give up threes, the way the Knicks were giving up threes tonight, OKC 17 for 31, 55% from the 3-point line. When you give up those kind of threes, you should expect to lose. The Knicks only made 10 threes on the night. On the day. What can you say, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know. Julius Randle, 25 points, 10 rebounds. Cam Reddish had a good game today. 26 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals for Cam Reddish. It was nice to see Cam Reddish play the way that he played today. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him do it with RJ because RJ was relegated to the bench in the second half after he picked up his 4th foul. And you didn't see him for the remainder of the game. 4 points for RJ Barrett. 1 rebound, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. Jalen Brunson had 17 points, 7 assists. Isaiah Hartenstein, 14 points, 7 rebounds. And I'll get the box score over here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Emmanuel Quickley, 24 points, 5 assists. It is, I'm sure for Emmanuel Quickley, it feels good to see the ball go in the basketball rim. You know, to see it go into the basket, but you'd like to do it with a win. 10 points for Obi Toppin, 7 points for Derrick Rose. But they couldn't get stops. They had people score the ball all over the floor. The Knicks shot 49% from the field. But they could not get stops for OKC. Well, of course, they were led by SGA. SGA had 37 points for the Thunder. And in the first half, to be honest with you, in that first quarter, the Knicks did a good job packing the paint, not allowing SGA to penetrate and score in the paint. But they didn't do a good job closing out on the shooters. And once those shooters start to make shots, it loosens up the defense. All of a sudden, SGA started to get to the basket. 37 points, 8 assists for SGA. Josh Giddey came into the Garden again and got a triple-double. 24 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. Lou Dort. I was talking with Andy in the game preview, and I said we cannot let Lou Dort get loose. Right? He hasn't been playing well, shooting the ball well. Do not let Lou Dort get loose. He got loose. 24 points, 3 rebounds. He was 72.7% from the field, 2 for 5 from the three-point line, ladies and gentlemen. He got loose. 12 points for AP. Jeremiah Robinson Earl. He started the game in lieu of Aaron Wiggins. The OKC Thunder tried to get a little bit bigger so that they weren't so small playing against the Knicks, and it worked. He had 17 points and 7 rebounds. And, their bench didn't do much. Jalen Williams, 8 points. Mike Muscala, 6 points. Aaron Wiggins, 3 points. Isaiah Joe had 8 points. They did enough, though. They did enough. Ah, man. I know you're all disappointed. I'm disappointed because now there's a chance the Knicks go on a 6-game losing streak, ladies and gentlemen. There really is. Beginning today, game 1, there's a chance that this is game 1 of that losing streak. Because the next 5 games, because you really have to count OKC as a tough game to win. The Knicks have not had luck against OKC. Seemed like in the first quarter it was about to change. And it didn't. Andy, what's going on, man? One of the few games that you get to watch live, and this is the display of basketball you get to watch.
What's up, Sim? Sim, I would love to go on a rant. I am going to hold back. I am just going to say this, bro. We better wrap this up fast. Jarrell has a show on the Giants. The Giants are up. Let's hope they ain't going to bring us down like this. Because, man, am I disappointed after a franchise record scoring first quarter.
Franchise record. And look, I didn't expect the Knicks to continue to score at that clip.
Yeah.
Exactly. That wasn't going to happen. That's a franchise record. They weren't going to score 96 points in the first half. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, or 190 for the whole game, right?
Right.
So.
Didn't expect that, but from there, it just went all downhill, and they could not get stops. Again, that three-point line, so many guys wide open from 3. So many guys. And, it's almost like when we sag so deep in the paint and then teams can swing the ball, it's almost like double teaming. When you double team, you got to scramble to get on the 3-point shooters. And it can be difficult. It is the same aspect, the same concept. You're scrambling. You know what I mean? Because you're so deep into the paint. But then, of course, we failed to stop, penetration into the paint. And it wasn't just SGA. Lou Dort got into the paint, right? Josh Giddey, amazing passing skills. Showed those off again, with players cutting to the basket. And his uncanny ability to find guys when you don't even know that they're, they have good they have some good chemistry, or at least they had it today. They scored 132 points against the Raptors as well. But it's a bad one for the Knicks, man. It's a bad one. The energy was there. The energy was there. The defense wasn't.
Yeah, and like you said, it seemed like it's not like it seemed. The energy was there, like you're saying, but Sam getting scored over 140 points in regulation time. That has to be. You got to be embarrassed. I don't think these guys can pick up a bagel tomorrow in a bodega. It's like, for me, it's unacceptable. Listen, in Europe, that would be totally different because you would literally have to get a player on the opposite team injured just to stop the bleeding. That would never happen in Europe because that was embarrassing. That was humiliation. That was unacceptable. The coach would rather go to the locker room instead of coach these guys. And I understand that it's but really, can we blame Tibbs on this? This loss on Tibbs fully? I'm not sure. I'm actually
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you
one.
can. I don't know if you can. Just fully say it was Tibbs. I think. I mean, it is and it isn't. The defensive scheme, I think, plays a big part in it. Because this 3-point shooting is happening all season long. And even before this season, it's that the defensive scheme is part of it, in my opinion. And not being able to defend the perimeter. Because even if you have guys that can penetrate to the basket, which OKC did, and they did, right? They would get to the paint, be able to kick it out. You got to know how to defend that. At what point do you say, I know Mitch isn't there to block shots, right? But at what point do you just say our guards gotta man up and defend because we're gonna stop these 3-point shooters from knocking down shots? You know what I mean? And instead it's trading 2 for 3, you're trading 2 for 2. You know what I mean? I know they didn't knock down 23 or 7 3-pointers, but still there was 17 for 31. That's still a lot of 3-pointers.
And Sim, for me, you know what's bothering me the most? Because I understand the players. If the coach says you play this scheme, this kind of defense, you got to do it because unless you play that way, he's going to bench you, right?
Right.
Because he's going to have an argument. But even if you are a player and the game turns this way, you have to try to, I don't know, set a precedent, whatever, foul someone, do something out of the scheme to try to make the pivotal, point of the game and try to get us back in the game. And that happens in every embarrassing game because and like you said, it's not like these guys play without effort. The effort looked like it was there.
Yeah.
They were just, no matter the effort, they were making shots because they were open. They were making shots because the ball fall, because it was their day, right? But you still got to try to make the game shift your way. And if these guys, if there wasn't anyone on the court to do that, even a backup player should do that. Try to shift the momentum.
Yeah.
If there's anyone on this thing, there's no leader, no franchise player, definitely no franchise player here. But there's no one that tried to do that.
Yeah, you got it.
And if I was be the coach, I would love for someone, even if it was Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
Do such a thing, right?
There's no goons on this team, what I mean?
Yeah.
And I agree, if you, at some point you got to start to muck the game up and get physical.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying hurt anybody, but get physical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Play tough. Try to take them out of their rhythm. But we don't have those kind of goons on this basketball team. And if Julius Randle does it, then people are gonna say he's losing
Stupid,
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ghost
Yeah,
Rider,
that, that
thank you for the super chat. He said, let me blow it up so I can read it. He says, salute Sim. This has to be the worst perimeter team on defense in Knicks history. I tend to
easy,
agree. I tend to
easy.
agree. I tend to agree. It's rough, and you can only I can only put that on the coach because of the scheme. I just feel like the scheme doesn't work. Scheme isn't working, in my opinion. You know, the pack the paint scheme isn't working. I know you want to defend the rim. I get it. You know, and that can also be a problem if you're not defending the rim well. Then you give up, you know, easy twos. But there's other ways. There's other ways. You know what I'm saying? Besides just packing the paint, or you got to teach them how to rotate out of the paint better because they don't do it well. You know what I'm saying? I thought in the first half, he had Julius Randle on Lou Dort, and I think that's part of the reason why Lou Dort started to get off. That was a bad matchup, in my opinion, for Julius Randle.
And the same with SGA and RJ, right? In the first half.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Lou Dort is 6'4", Julius Randle 6'8", and it's not like Lou Dort is not capable of putting the ball on the floor, and he plays with power. It was a tough matchup. Now he left him open a few times around the 3-point line. You know, that doesn't take guarding him. I mean, you know, that's a rotation issue. You know, not getting to your rotation on time. But as far as one-on-one and him going to the basket, you know, that was a tough matchup. And obviously Lou Dort got off. You know what I'm saying? Let me get to a phone call. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hey, how you doing, Sam? Andy, it's Tony from Harlem. It's trapped in Florida.
What's going on, Tony? How you feeling? Trapped in nice
I'm
weather.
doing good.
Trapped in decent weather, at least.
I don't think you can complain, bro.
Scarf over these shorts any day.
Okay.
So I'm going to put together what you and what you're saying and what Andy's saying, and then add something that Clyde said during the game.
Okay.
It's steam, but it goes beyond that. And it's, like Andy said, it's about effort. They showed effort. You could be, so I don't even remember, I told you I coach football down here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Usually if you have effort and a decent enough scheme, you can muddle your way through a game defensively. Mm-hmm. And I watch my cohorts who coach the basketball teams here, and you see it every day. But there's something that coaches do. I think every coach knows about it. There is a thing where we'll tell our players, no matter what, I want you to do this thing. And for Tibbs, it's protect the paint.
Right.
I could see him just telling them all, we're gang rebounding. I need you guys to all crash. If that is the fundamental basis that they build their defense on, there is no way they're going to be able to guard the perimeter. You're just setting them up to fail.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer that we just play the numbers. I think Clyde said a few nights ago that we were like the number one in the paint team. Like we had like it was like some outlandish like first or second. So let's just play the numbers. If we got players that can penetrate, if we got another team that can penetrate, let's just go head to head. Let's keep them off the threes, like you just said. Let's just trade these twos. Let's use these numbers to our advantage. But I don't think that's going to happen because Tibbs is coaching like Mitch is still down there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These guys are all crashing. They're letting guys go by them, and they're just not – I'm not saying they're not worrying, but the effort is there. You've seen all night Cam getting back out to his man. But you can't close the distance and blame any of those players for it. I can't tell my players I'm going to stack 8 and expect you to cover the pass. There's just no way to do that. You get what I'm saying. I'm kind of like mixing metaphors because it's two different sports.
No, I got you.
You're not. He's not setting them up for success.
Right.
I mean, am I seeing something that's wrong?
Let me ask you guys this though, because this is what's a little bit troubling for me too, because we're all seeing this and we're watching it, right? Coming into the game, the Knicks have had the sixth best opponents were shooting 34% from three against the Knicks. Sixth best in the league. Against Philadelphia, opponents were shooting 31.6%. The Hawks, 32.8%. New Orleans, where am I at? New Orleans, 32.9%. Charlotte, 33%. Utah, 33.3%. And then the Knicks, 34.2%. That's obviously going to change after today because OKC shot 55% from the three-point line. But that's what teams are shooting against the Knicks coming into this game. What do you take from that? Because that's sixth best in the league.
I got an answer for you.
Okay.
So you know how Knicks, you know how Tim will always say go back to the tape, right?
Uh-huh.
I bet if you broke up that stat into quarters, it's most likely, because we're watching the games where they've got to be shooting above 50% from three, and then as the game goes, that number drops. But by that time, the damage is done. Or the reverse is happening. The beginning of the game is starting, the first quarter, they're not shooting well, and then they've already brought the percentages way down, and then they blitz the Knicks from three-point range. So we're getting those numbers as a total number per game. But I bet you, because we're watching it, if we break those numbers down, I bet you each one of those teams, not all, have shot over 48% from three, at least in one quarter against the Knicks, the ones that have beat them.
Okay. I mean, the teams that have beat them have, I'm sure shot well, and it's probably skewed. One is skewed because there's only 13 games in the season now. And then
Fair.
You have the teams that the Knicks have beaten probably didn't shoot well. But the good teams that shoot well can exploit this defense. That's what I take from it.
But then we can look at it from another point of view. The bad teams are seeing what the good teams are doing, right? And they're saying, well, there is a way.
There's a way.
You shouldn't be able to look at the team and just say, this is what we need. Like last season, it was zone, right?
Right.
If we play zone against the Knicks, we can destroy them. This year, they have no perimeter defense. They're not committed to perimeter defense. May it be in the practice, however it might be. But we can get back in this game if we can start driving and kicking, because the Knicks are going to defend it the same way every time.
Right.
And just before I let you go, Cam is the only person that I saw deciding not to wait for the reaction and acting against the offensive player, getting his hands in the mix, jumping in front of the lanes, putting his hands in the passing lane. He's not allowing them to just glide right past him and set up that maneuver against the Knicks. Yeah. But the other players are committed to what Tibbs is telling them. Crash. Just wait and crash.
Right. I hear you. Tony, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the call.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the weather there, though. Enjoy the weather. As much as you don't want to.
I told you, I'll trade with you, man.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right.
And you know what, Andy, I think he, made a good point. Even the bad teams, they recognize that there's a way. They just can't execute. They can't knock down the threes. Because even against the teams that we've beaten, the Knicks are leaving that three-point line open. It's just a different league. You can't do that today.
And
you can't do that.
Sim, that's why we as fans think that Tibbs's defensive scheme is outdated, right? That's as simple as that. And my question is, would fans be cool if Tibbs shifted, trying to defend the three-point line by any means necessary and then open up the paint?
That's another question.
Yeah, because you know how fans are. They're gonna be, you got to go from minus 100 to a plus 100, right? You got to go totally different way for them. It's not like you're gonna be like, oh, let's try to just switch it up a little bit. No, you gotta switch it up from from left to right, from hot to cold, whatever. Totally different. And
But see,
but
I think though, this is what I see happening. Let's just say SGA is at the top of the key, right? Or he's on the wing. Let's say he's on the wing. And then Julius Randle is guarding Lou Dort in the corner. All right, let's just say that. Randle is playing 2 steps off of his guy already, anticipating that SGA is going to penetrate to the basket, right? So now when SGA does penetrate, Randle takes another step or two towards SGA. SGA kicks it, and Randle might try to close, but you can't get there in time, right? So I'm more like, be 1 step off of Lou Dort. When SGA penetrates, get in, but you have enough time to get back out. Right? Instead of already, like from the beginning, you're already down there guarding, anticipating that he's going to penetrate, and then you get so deep you can't get out. You know what I'm saying? Make SGA have to pick the ball up sooner. Right? So you're 1 step off of Lou Dort. He starts to penetrate. You take a step or 2 towards him, right? Not reaching, using your feet to get over there. Make him have to pick it up early. As soon as he picks the ball up, you get back out. You know what I'm saying? So now at least he has to take longer strides to the basket. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it gives enough time for whoever's guarding him to catch up. But instead, he's already so deep that once SGA penetrates and Randle takes another step towards him, he can't get out. And this is happening on every single play, almost, for the Knicks. Or, if it's not happening that way, on the opposite side of the floor, if SGA's on the right side and Randle's guarding Lou Dort in the corner, on the opposite side of the floor, RJ's already in the paint. And he doesn't need to be in the paint that far into the paint. And then the Knicks don't do a good job of moving on the flight of the ball. You know what I mean? There'll be 2 passes. 2 passes will go by before that person who was sagging into the paint is starting to move out to their man. And by that time, it's too late. As soon as you see the first pass go with the ball swinging around the perimeter, you got to start stepping towards your man. I don't know how many times I've watched the ball swing, and the person who was deep in the paint doesn't start to rotate out to their man until the ball is it's 1 pass away. Now they want to try to rotate, and it's just too late. You're not going to get out there in time. So part of that is basketball IQ as well, but part of it is scheme too. You just can't be so committed to the paint. And I know there's a lot of guards that can get into the paint and can really pose a problem for you. And if you don't guard the paint and you just let guys get in there, it is going to be a problem. That's without a doubt. You know what I mean? It's going to be tough, but and it does explain why he likes Mitchell Robinson so much, because now you can play a little bit tighter to your guy. You know what I'm saying? Allow, because now you got a weak side shot blocker. Someone who can come from the weak side and block shots. Yeah. But he's not there. You got to defend differently.
Yeah, that's Mitch is literally Tibbs's insurance.
Yeah. Right.
There's no other way you can say that. He's counting on Mitch to erase all the mishaps the rest of the 4 guys on the court has. Yeah. So.
Man, tough, ladies and gentlemen, tough. 145 to 135, the Knicks lose to the OKC Thunder. They were out-rebounded 38-35. Not a lot of rebounds to go around because both teams were making shots. 31 assists for the Thunder. Assists for the OKC Thunder. 25 for the Knicks. Thunder get their normal 9 steals. The Knicks 13 steals. 5 blocks for OKC. Only 2 for the Knicks. 19 turnovers for OKC. The Knicks didn't even capitalize on that and I guess most of those turnovers probably happened in the first half of the game, right? The Knicks 13 turnovers, 62.5% from the field for OKC. And when Boston shot the ball well, we had somebody call up and say, "Hey, it was their night. They shot it well. It was just their night." How many nights is it going to be that it's just their night?
Yeah. It can be like 3-4 games a year, a season, right?
Yeah, right.
It's not like they can happen like 2 times a week.
Right. There was a point that OKC was shooting 70% from the field.
Yeah. That was after the Knicks were shooting like 65.
Right.
And I was like,
right.
This is a mood swing, bro. If you ever saw one.
And the Knicks just couldn't keep up that level of shooting. The Knicks ended up dropping down to 49.5%, which is good. Right? 54.8% for the Thunder from the 3-point line, 32.3% for the Knicks, 90% from the foul line for OKC, 87.9% for the Knicks. 66 points in the paint for OKC, 74 for the Knicks, 17 second chance points for the Knicks, 7 for OKC. Both teams had 14 fast break points. And, the numbers you can point to, ladies and gentlemen, 31 assists for OKC. They were moving the ball. Guys were cutting to the basket. Josh Giddey had his 10 assists on the night. You could point to that right there. You could point to the 3-point shooting, 54.8%. And then, overall, they were 62.5% from the field. So, yeah, bad defensive display by the Knicks tonight. And this is a bad feeling to take on the road. Bad feeling to take on the road. Andy, what do you think about... Okay, go ahead. Say what you were going to say, and then we'll get to it.
Yeah, because we said on the pregame that, you better go on the road with a smile right after a W, with a little bit of more confidence. But I think they need to treat this next game as a redemption game, because this performance was really bad. So I would say that it's better that they lost the game like this than at the buzzer. But I don't think that sounds good.
I would have even if they lost, I would like to see a good defensive performance, a good performance. I'd rather have a tight.
Yeah, I'd rather lose like 91-90.
Yeah,
right?
I'd rather have a tight game.
140, whatever.
145, right? I'd rather have a tight game where the Knicks played good defense and and even if they lost at the buzzer or lost by a couple of points, you could point to progress, or you can point to some good things that they can do and know that, if they continue to play like this, they'll win. If the Knicks continue to play like this, I don't care how many points they score. If they're going to give up 10 more points than what they score, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You know what I'm saying? What did you take with RJ today?
Sim, you're throwing me under the bus, bro. You're throwing me under the bus because I think you and the rest of the NBK fam know that whenever I heard RJ is gonna be the defensive player of the year, runner-up, in the conversation, I knew that that's a lie. No, I don't know. It was Dr. Phil White that he was that's the terminal lie. So that let's get that out of the way. He ain't that much better than Fournier on defense. I'm gonna say it straight up to the camera like that. SGA showed that today. And on the offensive end, I'm still mad at RJ because I'm not comfortable with all his shots. But just smooth, switching up from RJ, I'm gonna go to Cam. Cam had a exceptional game on offense today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what changed in Cam's offensive game? Whenever he took the ball hard to the hoop with no fancy, nice looking layups over, under, whatever. Just he goes straight up to the hoop, thinking about scoring instead of making the ESPN highlights reel. He scored the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get fouled. He just get an and one or just the 2 points. And that's what I'm expecting from Cam. You got the starting job. Sim, let's go back one game. We saw the Pistons. Those Pistons squad, they almost have 4 guys averaging from 15 to 20 points a game. We're the Knicks, and we are supposedly being better and higher than them in the rankings. And we got like 3 guys that can score 20 points, and the rest are like, what? Cam had one good game at the beginning of the season, and today was the second game. The rest of the games, he was scoring literally less than 6 points a game.
Yeah.
Mitch, depending on how many offensive rebounds he can get like around 10. But that's not on an average night.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You know, I'm hoping that tonight's game, one, allows Cam's teammates to understand what he can do, understand how he plays, so that they're looking for him a little bit more on the offensive side, and helps Cam to understand how he can get, you know, where he can get his points and how he can get his points. Knocking down that 3, you know, off of the kick, beating his man, taking him to the basket. He did a nice job, you know, when he would kick, fake one way and go. You know what I'm saying? And I agree. More times than not tonight, when he would elevate to the basket, there were a couple times when he tried to move the ball around, but a lot of times he elevated straight up to the basket without double pumping or trying to, you know, bring the ball through and just accept the contact. That way he can get to the line. You know what I mean? De La Music 50 said, what did we see today? Outcoached or outplayed? I'm going to say both. I think we got outcoached and outplayed.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, listen, getting scored 140 couple of points is it should be like 3 things even.
Yeah.
Not only that should be on the front office even.
Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from. And before you do that, caller, for those Giants fans out there, the Giants are up 21-10. A few minutes ago, Saquon Barkley scored a touchdown. Giants are up 21-10, hopefully cruising their way to a 7-2 record. You dig what I'm saying? Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on? This is Karim. I'm from New York, but I live in North Carolina at the moment.
What's going on, Karim? Yeah, Karim, what's going on with you, man?
What's up, man? Yeah, I used to when you guys before you guys made it big, I used to be on the panel.
We not big, man. We not big. You know, we just doing what we do.
You guys are huge, man. You're doing a great job, man.
Appreciate
I'm proud of all you guys, for real, man. Y'all just keep it going, and y'all always give a good perspective because this team just gets us so emotionally riled up. It's like you got to tune into you guys so you can not calm us down, but at least make sense of it. But today, I'm sorry, man.
It's hard.
All right, let me start off by saying this. I'm a Knicks fan, been a Knicks fan since maybe like 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to win a championship. That's the bottom line. So what's going on right now, we're not looking like we're even headed in that direction.
Right.
So I hate to say it, man, but I'm not too mad at the loss because I think more losses is going to get us to go on the right track because it seems like people say we lost to a team that we're supposed to lose to, but last I remember, we're not a good team. So it really bothers me when people say that we're supposed to beat anyone. Like, I don't know why people put us on this pedestal, like, oh, we're supposed to do this. We're a bad team right now. We're trying to become a better team. But with this coach, all right, so I'm about to understand this. You know, we lost, you know, we gave up a lot of points. You know, it happens, whatever. But this is my thing. So RJ picks up 4 fouls in the third quarter, and he does not come back in the game. But meanwhile, you have Fournier playing 20 minutes who doesn't score a basket on a day that we have one of our biggest offensive performances. But when things like this happen with Julius Randle, when he does something wrong, Tibbs would never not play him the entire fourth quarter. But meanwhile, he has Toppin that he can put in. RJ, you only have, and Grimes, he's cleared to play. He doesn't have no restrictions. He doesn't get on the court. So you put Fournier instead of RJ, which is not is not comparable. But you have Toppin when Randall is not going good, but Toppin still can't get on the court. Like this coach, he does things that doesn't make any sense. Whether we win or we lose, okay, I can live with that. But the things that this guy does is just embarrassing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing. I'll say this. I don't know if RJ should have gotten back on the court. Maybe he could have played someone else. If Fournier didn't play well. I mean, RJ was pretty rough, even in the first half. I just felt like his defense was pretty bad, against SGA. You know what I mean? Nobody really guarded anybody out there for the Knicks, though. So.
But the coach, he's so quick. He seemed like he's always catering, always pandering to Julius Randle, trying to keep his psyche intact. He would never do anything like that to Randle because he always wants to keep him in tow. But what does that say to the rest of the team when Randle does bad, but he constantly plays, but RJ, he has a bad half, and you don't give him a chance to redeem himself at home? I think it's kind of demoralizing. I think it's just sending a bad message to the rest of the team.
Okay.
Once again, I thought that we was over this. I thought he was more of a meritocracy this year, but obviously we see that that's just not the case because it's been times already this year that Randle could have stayed on the bench and they could have kept Toppin going, and it doesn't happen. And as soon as RJ had some pretty rough games already, but to me, it just doesn't send a good message.
Okay.
And I'm not going to keep you guys on the line. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, that's just it, man. I mean, like I said, we win, we lose. That's not really a big concern to me. I know we don't have a lot of top-tier talent, so I'm thinking that we really need to get rid of Randle, get rid of Fournier, get rid of Rose. And I'm just saying that not necessarily Rose, but maybe Rose to get rid of these veterans. All these young teams, Houston Rockets, OKC, these guys, they're not that good. Even Detroit, they're not that good, but they're upside. They got so much upside. We're not good, and we don't have upside. And we're playing veterans over young guys, so we can't even boost their value and really see what we got. Like, I just think that we're not on the right track, and I'm not just saying that because of this game. I've been feeling that way since maybe the second, third game when I see this coach doing things that doesn't make any sense and that's not conducive to us building a championship team. And it seems like everyone just keeps going along with this guy as if he's top of it, as if he's a proven winner. Like he's a great mediocre coach when his winning percentage is like 55% for his career. He has no championships. I don't understand why everyone lives and dies with the moves that this guy does. Like he is it. He's not the guy. So I think everyone needs to stand up and stop giving this guy so many excuses. People say, "Oh, he doesn't really do good at making decisions, but he's good at this." Well, to me, it sounds like he's a great assistant coach. Because when it comes to making big boy decisions, he seems like he almost never makes the right decision. But other than that, hey, shout out to the chat. Hey, Sim, everybody. I'm at work right now, so I'm not able to see everybody that's on the screen right now.
Okay.
But hey, you guys doing a great job. Keep it up. I'm gonna catch up with you guys later. All right?
Appreciate you, my man.
Peace.
All right, be safe, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Peace. Go ahead, Andy. You look like you were getting ready to say something.
Yeah, because listen, I saw plenty of games this year that Tibbs put in RJ late in the game after the game was over in garbage minutes. So RJ can score that 2, 4, 6 points to get his, average up. And I'm not cool with that too. And that's on Tibbs. That's clearly on Tibbs because if the game is over, you put in the deep bench in.
Mm-hmm.
So Svi can score 3. So Deuce can run, a couple of minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes. Meanwhile, we still had RJ on the court. And I don't agree with Kareem in this actual, thing that he said that only Randall's on the court late in the game. Tibbs just has that tendency that he still gets his starters late in the game. I don't know if he has an under the table deal with them so they can stat pad whatever it is. But for me, that thing is a little bit annoying. And I understand you lose the game, cool. You lost the game, get the young guys to get some burn.
Yeah.
They are on the team for a certain reason. They don't want to be just players for the practices, whatever, and stuff like that. So I really saw RJ stat padding late in the games, and for me, that's if I'm a practice player, I would rather just have the opportunity to take that shot. And I'm on the court with Quickly and with RJ, and they're taking all the shots still. So I'm just making wind around the court.
Yeah,
so.
I do think that Tibbs has been kind of sticking with RJ.
Yeah,
for the most part, even when he's had bad games, he's been kind of sticking with him. I think today he felt like, well, you know what, Cam's got it going. I'm not gonna bring him back in. You know what I mean? Cam's got it going. He's defending now. He brought the bench in. And he's gonna rock with his bench rotation. Maybe he could have brought in Grimes, instead of Fournier, to try to have some defense, to finish the game. You're trying to rock with IQ, who was having a good game. Brunson got pulled out because he wasn't playing well. Right? So I think he is trying to figure out who he can play and have some success. My big thing is the schemes, man. My big thing is the defensive schemes. I said it from the beginning of the season, and I'm going to say it now. We need some new schemes. We got to switch up the defense a little bit. We got to try some new things. Try a zone a little bit, right? Throw some different defenses out there. Every single game, we end up getting picked apart. Sometimes the bad teams just can't score. They just can't hit the shots. But we end up getting picked apart. Right? Because we have the same schemes over and over and over. It's predictable. What we're going to do defensively is predictable, and it's easy to plan for.
And Sim, it's not like we have that offensive,
Firepower,
star, or
right.
even the whole offense as a unit that can overcome those defensive lapses, those defensive bad scheming and stuff like that. Yeah. Because when you have a guy like KD showed us, right, the best versus the Nets game, he tore us apart as a one-man unit because he got the rest of the guys involved after he got the lead for his squad.
Yeah.
And he was like, let me get these guys involved.
Right.
So it's not like he couldn't go for 60. He could literally go for 60. But he's like, let me, try to tease these guys, tear this whole defense apart with the rest of my teammates because we had a lead. And I don't think the Knicks have the room, the cushion just to try, different things. We don't have that kind of offensive power, or like you said, to test out these kind of defensive schemes. And we know that this defensive scheme in the era of the guards, of the 3-point shooting, is outdated. Yeah, it's as simple as that. You can't blame everything on the players.
It's outdated, it's predictable, and it's easy to plan for.
Easy to break.
Easy to break and easy to plan for, especially when you don't have guards that can, really keep guys out the paint. Let's put it like this. In the NBA, you go one-on-one, you're going to get broken down from most guards in the league.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the league is that good. And you don't have, there's more very good offensive players than there is very good defenders. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have some kind of help defense. That's without a doubt. But there's certain ways you can help without just leaving that 3-point line exposed. And they're constantly being wide open shooters. He's got to figure it out, man. I think, it's kind of late now because you want to put these things in training camp.
Yeah.
But, different defensive schemes, different, just throwing out, you call a timeout, come out with a different defense for 3 possessions, 4 possessions, then go back, and then on a foul shot, say, okay, we're gonna go with this defense for a couple of possessions. Like, switch it up, teams.
Yeah, and still, like I said before, with Tibbs, it doesn't look like it can be just a tweak. It has to go from north to south. It has
Right.
to go from east to west. It's
Right,
like
right,
totally
right.
opposite. So that's the worst thing, because I don't think he can adjust it mid-season. Like, just he can try to go to the opposite side, but that's literally gonna cost us a couple of games.
Yeah, and it's so late. You do these things in training camp, right? You do it in
Yeah.
training camp. Hold on, caller, please. You do it in training camp. You know what I'm saying? And then you try to do it midway through the season. You don't have enough practices to put it in.
Yeah.
So now
it's
you're
gonna
kind of
cost you games.
Yeah, and so now you're kind of stuck with it. You're stuck with it. Well, what you got? Which is, I said it way before the season. I hope that he comes in with some different schemes, using different styles of defenses, and it's the same thing. And the Knicks are getting picked apart with it. And we don't have the defensive guys out there. We don't have the defensive guys to do it. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please. Say that again.
Oh, it's Rapper A song.
Hey, what's going on, man? Talk to me.
So, well, for one, we can't keep putting everything on the coach, man, because the coach do put a lot of these people in great spots. Paul is made up from New York, so he do put a lot of these people in great position to shine, and sometimes we just don't have the talent, and I don't think we have talent here. And I've been saying this from the beginning of this season, like Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle is probably the only 2 talent we have, and we just going on hope. All y'all been hearing, I hope RJ becomes the breakout star we could be. I hope Cam Reddish can step up. I hope Mitchell Robinson. We just have hopeful players. We need talent here. Look at what the Spurs is doing. They building their own talent. What talent can we build here? So, it can't keep blaming coach. It got to come down to, we got to build a better team around coach. Put some defenders in here. I've been vouching for Jonathan Isaac coming here. I'm a little sick, sorry, but I've been preaching for Jonathan Isaac coming here because I know he's a top-tier defender. He might not have all the offense, but I know he will push everybody else to become a better defender. We need players that's going to push our own players to become a better defender, and we don't have that type of player here.
I agree. We don't have those kind of defenders. I'm just harping on the schemes. I know there's a lot of people, mad about rotations and who's playing in this and that. I think the players that he has playing are the best players that we have, in my opinion, right? And that's what's it. The guys that aren't playing, they're not making the team better, in my opinion. For me, the defensive schemes are an issue. That's my big gripe with Tibbs. The defensive schemes, I don't like it. My man, you there?
Tibbs, I feel like Tibbs, when Tibbs was successful in Chicago, why was that? He had Joakim Noah, who was really the anchor of the defense over there. He was a heart and soul. We don't have that type of player here that Tibbs can rely on the defensive side. Who could be like, go out there and get us a stop, and we gonna know we gonna get that break going because we got Rose on the back. We don't have them type of talent here at all, and I don't think we put enough talent around Tibbs to even shine. And I don't know. I just felt like they just tried to set Tibbs up this season with the roster they built around him, and I'm just my opinion. Nobody want to say it, but they didn't give Tibbs the type of player he actually needs to build a successful. Y'all get what I'm saying?
I mean, I hear what you're saying. The Knicks need more talent. There's no doubt about it. They need more talent, and talent is going to win you basketball games. They need more talent.
I hate to say this, but do you think RJ is a bust considering his draft class with the Zion and the John Morant? I hate to say it, but do you think he's a bust with his draft class?
I don't think he's a bust. I don't think he's a bust. I think there's going to be limitations to where RJ can go as far as a player in this league. I don't think he's going to end up being, that number one guy for the Knicks. I don't. but I don't think he's a bust.
I was just saying that because he had people like Darius Garland, Zion, and you saw how they playing right now. So I was just thinking that RJ could be on that same type of level. Like, it shouldn't be you're not playing a whole fourth quarter in no games, especially as a top 3 pick. I'm sorry, like that can't happen. And as a player, you gotta put some type of fire in you and get that fire back and get that going back, because you can't have that. Like, or you either go to management and tell them you want to trade because you're not happy playing here. Because I ain't gonna lie, that's a big part of it. I don't think these players look happy playing here neither. And if you're not happy playing here, then there's a result.
Okay.
You got to be happy doing something you love. Like, you're not going to keep doing that. But that's all I would say.
Hey, I hear you. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you calling in, and
appreciate y'all
letting
too,
it out.
man.
No doubt. All right, peace. Greg said, Andy, he said, I never keep it real. RJ is a bust. I don't think he's a bust. You know what I mean? He may not be what people want him to be, but I don't think he's a bust. I don't think he's a bust.
Yeah, listen, he might not be a bust, but if he got paid like $200 million, he would be a bust.
Right. I mean, if he got paid $200 million, that it's going to be something different. Now, what do you look? The Knicks got this road trip coming up after today's game, and I know I'm asking right now, when everyone's emotional, including myself, your outlook towards this road trip.
They will not lose all 5 games on the road trip. That's for sure. One of these games, it has to go another way around. It has to be the next game. The other team is going to be having a worst night of the season, because I listen. It's just the luck of the draw, as they say. It can't be that bad.
I hope not, because right here, this road trip, in my opinion, can define the Knicks season.
Yeah, it could break it up, right? Because if we lose the 5 games on this, and including this one, it's going to be 6. So it's going to be what? It's going to be 5 games under 500.
If we go on including today's game, if we go on a 6-game losing streak, we'll be
6 or 5
6
games
or 7.
under 500,
We'll
right?
if we lose all 5 of those games on the road, we'll be 6 games under 500.
Yeah.
And that could
This early into the season.
that could essentially
yes, and
end our that could that can be a tough one to come back from, I think.
yeah, and Sim, even if I'm the front office and if I see us going 0-5, which I don't envision, I think we're going to pull out at least one of these games. But if not, I think the front office might consider trying to find someone else for Tibbs.
You think so?
For Tibbs' head coach. Yeah, because I see fans already calling for Tibbs' name.
Mm-hmm.
And we're literally 500 before this game. So after a 5-game losing, slide, they might have a reason.
I mean, fans been calling for Tibbs' head since.
Yeah, since he signed literally. So
right. You know what I mean? So that's going to continue to happen. Regardless of what happens today, that's going to continue to happen. Because fans been calling for his name, for his head since forever. I don't know. If the Knicks lose this game, if the Knicks go on a 5-game losing streak, if they lose out, I think what happens, that triggers moves.
Yeah.
That's what and I'm talking about player moves. I don't know about Tibbs yet. They'd be 5 games. They lose out. They'll be 6 games below 500. Yeah, I think that triggers that triggered some moves.
And,
Whatever
and
those
Sim,
moves
you
are.
know, the worst thing is for the front office, at least at this point, if there is a 5-game, 6-game losing, streak, the worst thing is that the players that were signed in this offseason, they can be moved after December 15th.
Right.
So, and that's a month away from today. So that 5-game, 6-game losing streak, it's still, 3 weeks away from the, maybe like 2.5 weeks away from that trade, date. It's unofficial, but it's around December the 15th.
Right.
So if you lose these 5-6 games and you gotta pull out the next 2 weeks without a player traded or a move being made, or the roster to get that extra boost, or shake up, at least you can say, right? Because the roster might try to play a different way if it's if there's corrections being made. If that's not going to be the case, then the next 2 weeks, that might be too late for the Knicks brass to make a move. And I don't think Tibbs is going to be here for a tanking job. So
Right. So tell me, which games do you think the Knicks whatever, do you think the Knicks can get?
Same. I'm thinking that this is the NBA. They can literally win each and every one of these games, but they're not going to win all 5. That's for sure.
Well, that's for sure. They're definitely not going to win all 5.
Yeah.
Right.
So listen, I wouldn't be surprised even if they took the Jazz game.
Okay.
Even if they took the Jazz game, because like I said before, this is the NBA. Sometimes you just get hot and the game goes easy for you. But I think from the Jazz, Markkanen is like the biggest guy there. They got Sexton, they got Clarkson off the bench, or at the shooting guard position. On a good night, we match up with the Jazz correctly, at least correctly. I'm not gonna say we outplay them or outmatch them, but we match with them correctly. So we have a puncher's chance, right? So it might be even the Jazz game. I would rather be more afraid of playing the Warriors, because I think the Warriors have so much firepower that unless they have a really bad night, I don't think we have a chance versus the Warriors. And even that's even with Mitch, because the Warriors don't score from the paint. So I'm guessing the Warriors game is going to be like the easiest giveaway. The same goes with the Suns, right? The Suns, they have a center, they have 2 great backcourt guys. They're a little bit thin on the wings because Cam Johnson is injured, but still that might be enough for the Knicks, even on a bad day for them. So I think I would have to go with the Jazz, actually, and that will probably be called an upset, but that might be us, our biggest chance.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna find out. Let me get to a couple of super chats. Nikki B from Harlem, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. He said Knicks fans need to relax. Every game we have lost this season has been to the team with the best player on the floor. Talent matters. I mean, the thing is, yeah, talent matters, and there's going to be a lot of teams we come up against where we don't have the best player on the floor. And, if you want to be a winning team, you got to figure out how to win those games sometimes, on some nights. You're not going to win them every night, but on some nights, you got to figure out how to get it. De La Music said, it is already out there. Has Tibbs lost the team? Heard that already on a podcast. I don't think so. I don't think the players are not listening to Tibbs, because they continue to use the schemes, right? They continue to, what Tibbs is asking them to do, they continue to do it. I do not believe that he's lost the players or his voice is not being heard. because they continue to do what he's asking to do. When a coach has lost the players, they don't do what he's asking them to do. Right? They might do what an assistant coach is saying if the assistant coach is not saying the same thing as the coach. Or they might do what they think is right. I don't think he's lost the players. I don't. I think they're still playing for Tibbs. I just feel like the defensive scheme is not good, and the Knicks don't have the transcendent talent that you need to withstand the scoring droughts, because we've seen the team go on scoring droughts. You don't have that transcendent talent that can withstand the scoring droughts. Or when another team is scoring like crazy, you don't have those kind of defensive stoppers. You know what I mean? There's some things that the team misses, but being a coach, you got to coach the team that you have. And so you have to figure out how do I get it done with the players that I have? And you still may not win, because it's going to come down to talent, but you got to have the right schemes for the players you have right now. You know what I mean? And I think that's a better determination of a coaching job than, I don't want to say winning or losing, because that doesn't sound right. Obviously, you have to win, right? But can the coach get the best out of the players that they have? And that really does determine how good of a coach you are. You know what I mean? And is he getting the best out of the players we have? I don't think so right now. Because in a lot of it, maybe offensively, maybe in some aspects, we've seen some good offensive nights, but defensively, no, I don't think we're getting the best out of our guys defensively. And I don't mean effort-wise. I'm talking basketball IQ and scheme. You had the Nets game where the effort didn't look like it was there. I don't think that was the issue tonight. It hasn't been like that in most games. So up here, scheme. I think that's I think those are the issues with this team defensively. You were gonna say something, Andy, and then I'll get to the phone call.
Yeah, for me, effort is I don't think you should try to get or be motivated by your coach to play with effort in the NBA. It's like, you're getting paid. This is your job. You gotta, try to play, unless the coach lost the locker room. That might be the only case that you don't play with effort. But we saw that they didn't play with effort versus the Nets. But today, that I don't think the effort was the question.
Right. And I see people saying we need a new voice. Needing a new voice and losing the locker room are two very different things.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? You can have somebody who is not a very good coach, but has the attention of everyone in the locker room because he's a motivational speaker, or the guys like him, or whatever it is. So having a new voice and losing the locker room are two very different things. The question that was posed is, did Tom Thibodeau lose the locker room? And I don't think he's lost the locker room.
Yeah. You
can say whatever you want about his coaching style, if he's a good coach or a bad coach. I just don't think he's lost the locker room. By the way, I don't think he's a bad coach, but I do think his defensive schemes are antiquated. And they should change. Let me get to the caller. Caller, you're live. Please tell me your name and where you're from.
Sam, Andy, it's Spree. What's going on?
What's going on, Spree?
What up?
I'll be quick. Let me tell you where my mind goes. A couple things. I don't know why I do this anymore after a game like that. It makes me wonder. I may need a break for a couple days. But RJ, what are your thoughts on moving RJ to the second unit as the sixth man and playing? I know Grimes is not ready, but I'm ready to see something different. Randall and RJ don't play great together. And maybe this is an overreaction just because we gave up 145 points and RJ looked awful. But What are your thoughts on Cam and Grimes together? Or depending on matchups, you could even start IQ. I know that's a small backcourt with Brunson, but we need defense. I would have even started why can't we just start? Maybe you look at the West Coast trip and give it a couple more games, but I'm ready for some changes in the lineups. I don't understand. Evan Fournier should not play anymore, Sim. There's no reason he should be playing anymore. What he gives you, and he's not even making threes anymore, but whatever offensive thing you think he can do for you, it's not worth what he doesn't give you on the defensive end. That's why my whole thing is I could care less if Grimes ain't ready to play. You play Cam, you give Cam the minutes, and you give Grimes the minutes. And we got to get RJ right. So what are your thoughts on the second unit? Is that an overreaction?
I mean, RJ, coming into this game, he'd been playing some good basketball games. He had a few games where he played really well. He just had 30 in the previous game, right? So I think it could be because he had a terrible one today. You're gonna have those throughout the season, but he had been trending in the right direction coming into this game, at least.
I mean, he could still get 30 plus minutes and play his minutes being the sixth man. I think we need a new look with Cam in there. I like Cam. I like Brunson, obviously. We need defense. I just think RJ right now, I know he had some good games, and maybe this is an overreaction, but I don't see Tibbs experimenting enough. Evan's got to be out of the rotation. That's first and foremost. I don't want to see Evan Fournier play anymore, even if we win. I want defense on the floor. It's obvious that whatever he gives you, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to play him. Cam and Grimes need the minutes.
But you don't want to rush.
IQ actually looked good today.
You don't want to rush Grimes back because he's been, play a game or two and then he's out for a bunch of games. Play a game or two, then he's out for a bunch of games. I think they're trying to, see how his foot responds before they really start playing a whole lot of minutes. And at that point, who knows? Maybe, maybe he does replace Fournier, who I guess we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, I'll leave you with this. What we need on the floor are the guys that play the hardest. I think Hartenstein plays very hard. I'm fine with him playing. I think Obi needs to be on the floor more with Randall because Obi will work hard. I'm not saying he's the greatest player in the world. He was shooting it fine in this game, and he'll try. I need people that can move and that can try to play defense. Brunson, Grimes, Cam, IQ actually I was pleased with today. IQ actually played well, and IQ tried. I just don't. Do you think RJ? I don't know, man. I'm just very frustrated. I know he had some good games, but this is a game again. Look at the draft. Look who he's going up against, Shea. It's another opportunity to try. You go up against somebody in your draft class, and we're just not getting it. I don't know. Do you think Tibbs is going to get fired after the West trip if we lose all the games? Or
I don't think he does. I don't think he gets fired, but I think if we lose all the games on the West Coast trip, I don't think he gets fired, but I will say maybe it starts to creep into the back of the mind of Leon Rose and those guys, right? They start looking and saying, all right, let's say the Knicks go there and every game is they lose by a total of 8 points over all 5 games, meaning it's a battle every single game, right? No, he doesn't, because they're going to say, okay, maybe this team is turning the corner. If they go out there and get smacked, I think it starts to creep into their mind, at least. I don't think they fire him, but I think it starts to creep into their mind. Kevin Bergen said it's already creeping in. It could be.
It could be. I mean, look, I think he's trying. I mean, I just think that I understand Evan got paid a lot of money, but it's time to pull the plug, in my opinion. I think Grimes, when he's ready, give Cam and Grimes the minutes because they're going to try on defense. And I'll say this about RJ, and I'll say it again. Yes, he's had some good games, but that's not the end of the world if a guy becomes a sixth man and plays 30, 35 plus minutes and we find something with RJ where we can get consistent ball, where he can spark the second unit. Rose doesn't have it. I mean, look at Westbrook. That's what the Lakers did. I don't know. I'm trying to search. I'm searching, Tim. This team is very frustrating, but you have a good one. I'll talk to you in a couple days.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you, my man.
All right, man.
I don't know. I don't know if, I think that coming to the Knicks, Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, it was a group thing. You know what I'm saying? And the, I just don't know that I don't know that they're going to be ready to do that. You know what I'm saying?
You
I
mean
know,
benching RJ?
No, I'm talking about Tom Thibodeau. They're
Oh.
not benching RJ. RJ's not going to the bench.
I was gonna say that I think they rather get fired than do that.
Yeah, I mean they just gave this man a contract.
Yeah,
to be one of your primary players out there. He's not going to the bench.
Cornerstones.
Yeah, one of your cornerstones. He's not going to the bench. B-Baller said he's gone. Sim knows it. MSG just won't allow him to say it yet. I don't know, man. It's a bad spot for the Knicks to be in, though, going on this road trip. This is a bad spot for them to be in.
Yeah, but Sim, listen, there are examples in history that when a team goes to a road trip, especially a longer road trip, that they kind of gather up and kind of play well. Let's hope it's going to be one of these trips.
Yeah. Hopefully
that they turn it around.
Right,
right?
It's one of those trips where it brings them together. They bond. Is this
Yeah.
the first? I know they've been on the road, but like significant road trip for this team, right?
Yeah, and I think 5 games is literally the longest trip in the schedule. I think.
Yeah.
Because they might have like two times the 5-game road trip, but I think 5 is like what the NBA schedule allows you to go for, unless you have like the circus and MSG. So that might be like 6, but I don't think the NBA is allowing longer road trips than 5-6 games.
Right, and the Giants are up 21-10 with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Looks like they're going to be moving on to 7-2, so we can at least leave this Sunday happy. Off of a New York Giants win. Let me look up and see if maybe we can hear from Tom Thibodeau about this particular loss, and then, we'll head up out of here. Ah, boy. Definitely. I don't know.
Not a fun show.
No. No. It's especially with the way the Knicks started, man. That's the tough part. The way that they started just looked like they had the right mindset. From the beginning of the game, I was like, yeah, it looks like the Knicks are going to get this win. That's the way that I felt from the beginning of the game. All right, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tom Thibodeau. Let's take a listen, see if we hear anything new.
Your reaction to the defense and giving up 145 points?
Disappointed. The game started off pretty easy, 48-36, but it was free-flowing. There was no resistance. And then second quarter, third quarter was the same. So, the defense, the rebounding, that effort has to be counted on every night. And so the players too good, to give that type of confidence away right from the start.
Why do you think, we talked about this after the Brooklyn game, why do you think this keeps happening at this point?
Yeah, and that's the thing. The challenge for us is to be consistent. So we can't be up and down. It's hard. It's a hard league. There's no shortcuts in this league. If we think, 135 points, we should be walking out with a win. But if we don't play defense, we're not going to. So that's one thing that we have to be able to count on.
You guys mentioned after the Brooklyn game, low intensity but low effort. I mean, is that what it is today?
Well, Brooklyn was it was different. Like, I thought we played really well at Minnesota, and I don't know, we missed shots in that game. And, like, I thought that took a lot out of us. And then I thought we didn't shoot the ball great, but I thought we played very unselfishly against Detroit. And then tonight, I thought the way we played offensively to start the game was very good and very unselfish. But our defense was the problem. And so we have to fix that. And so it's hard to win if we don't make a better effort to defend. And so it's hard, we have to contain the ball better. We have to challenge shots better. We have to, block cuts better. We have to rebound the ball better. But I think offensively, guys are doing a good job. They're trying to do the right things. But defensively, the intensity has to be ramped up, and we have to fix that.
Just generally, you obviously have had so much success on that side of the ball, 145 points. How does that sit with you?
Well, the thing that sits with me is the disappointment of losing. It's like and we have to look at every game and say, okay, what do we have to fix? What do we have to prioritize? Obviously you're not working on everything, but I know if we're relying on trying to outscore people, that's not going to work. It's our margin of error is small. We have to play with great intensity on every possession, and when we do that, we're very successful. If we can't get wrapped up in a free-flowing, game where, we're not containing the ball or we're not challenging shots, and if you leave a player open in this league, they're going to make. It's that you can't get here without being a great player. So you have to challenge shots, and you have to contain the ball better. You have to guard one-on-one better. You got to make. There's no easy way out of it. It requires multiple effort. You got to guard the ball, be in, get out, challenge, put a body on someone, be tied together. You have to do all those things, and you have to do it time after time. And you might do it great, and they still might make. Hey, look, he's a tough matchup. So is Giddey. So we got to take that challenge, and you're not guarding those guys individually. You're guarding those guys with your team, and that's where we fell short tonight.
Tom, just to follow on that, you've always been known as a coach who can get consistent defensive effort out of your players. Why has this team been difficult to reach in that context so far?
Well, and as I said, it's we have to take a hard look at it, and then evaluate everything and what's the best way for us to have a chance to be successful. And so, I always believe that it starts with your defense, your rebounding, and keeping your turnovers down. That puts you in position to win. And so, we're capable of doing better. We've shown times where, we've guarded extremely well. And what I'm concerned with is the up and down of the last, 4 games.
RJ picked up that fourth foul early in the second half, and then he didn't play again. What went into that decision?
Yeah, we just got behind by so much that we were just looking for life. And that group that was in there gave us a little bit of a spark, and so that's what we went with. So.
Is that why you had Fournier in there the whole fourth quarter?
Yeah, just, once we cut it and got it to, 10-8, I wanted to see where it would go.
All right, let's stop it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Couple of questions that I didn't think two, basically at the end that I didn't think he really answered well. I think they asked him about, I think the reporter was trying to get to, is the team responding, right? Why is it so hard for you to, get them to respond on the defensive end? I think he avoided that question basically by just saying, well, we got to do this, we got to do that, but, didn't really speak to, how come you can't get them to do it? Then with RJ, he's basically like, well, we were grasping at straws to try to find a lineup that worked. If you read between the lines, that means he didn't think that putting RJ in there was going to work. Right?
I was going to say, right? That was a thing that he didn't feel confident that RJ can make like do the job. So listen, and he stuck with 40 over RJ.
Yeah.
And 40 didn't score a bucket.
Didn't score a bucket. He didn't think that RJ could get it done. But
listen, from the jump of the interview, seems like he doesn't have problem with his eyes. He sees all the things that we see. He just doesn't want to, correct it on his side, right?
On his side.
Still kind of, he's still kind of saying that, listen, we are playing shaky, we are playing not consistent and stuff like that. We could play good and bad. It's like I'm not going to change my schemes. The players got to adjust to it. So
and that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So he kind of is throwing the players under the bus. Yeah. Is that the case? I think then you got to try to make it work on both ends, right? So
yeah, let's hear from Jalen Brunson, ladies and gentlemen.
This team offensively scores 135 points, shooting 50% from the field. How frustrating is it when your defense doesn't back up that effort?
Yeah, it's tough. You gotta give them credit. They were more ready to play. Made a couple more plays than us, and we should be walking out here with a win. Scoring that many points, but just defensively, we were just, myself included, and we weren't right and unacceptable.
When you say not right, unacceptable, in your mind, what's the first thing that needs to change?
We got to do everything with a sense of urgency as a team. We got to be able to control what we can control and basically hold each other accountable and just not give them easy looks, not let them get confidence. And they had confidence from the start, and then it's kind of hard to turn someone's water off when they're just going like that.
Between Shea and Josh, when those guys score over 60 points between the two of them, what is it about those two that's tough to defend?
Yeah, they're great players, great playmakers, and always keep you off balance. And you got to give them credit. Those guys are very special.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing there surprising or shocking about what Jalen Brunson said. Anything else? I don't know how much more there is to say about today's game. You know what I mean? Tibbs has got to figure out something on the defensive side. It's not just the players. Players definitely play a role, but I think he plays a big role as well in his adjustments. In his defensive schemes. I think the players, they've got to continuously come out and dedicate themselves to the defensive end of the floor. Tough schedule coming up. The tough 5 games. Then I think they get a break, in a game or two. And then another tough set of games after that. The next 12 to 14 games are, very, very difficult for the Knicks. You could say a lot about the season. Anything else? I do have a super chat that I'm going to get to. And then we'll get out of here after that.
Yes, so listen, for me, it's on one side of the problem, it's going to be the players, and on the other side of the problem is going to be the coach, which having a certain roster, he has to play to the strengths of it, right? If he is trying to go stubborn his way, to force on the front office to make moves to get those players that he needs for his certain system, I hope he has that credit in the front office, because if not, it's going to be his head rolling instead of the players going. Yeah. So, and I think that time is creeping in on him. So slowly, but I think it's more and more parties, not only the fans but also probably the front office, maybe the owner and Jimmy D. Maybe that's going to be the case. So let's see who's going to budge first.
Yeah, let's see. De La Music said, so panel, I'll ask again, outcoached? I think we said a lot. We talked about the defensive scheme a lot. I don't think their coach did anything special. I didn't see any special adjustments that their coach made. I didn't see any special matchup that their coach created. Right? So I don't, if you're saying tactical, adjustment for adjustment, not really. It comes down to their defense, the Knicks' defensive scheme, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So if you want to say that's out-coached, okay, you can say that's out-coached. You know what I mean? But I think it came down to that defensive scheme. I didn't see their coach do anything special besides what they've been doing. And if what they've been doing is, have good offensive schemes and defensive schemes, then, that's something that is, to me, out-coached means that, tactic for tactic in the midst of the game, this guy did this guy did that. If you have something that you do and you do it every game no matter what, I don't know if that's exactly out-coached. That means that you don't have the right scheme in for your team. That's what I think is happening with the Knicks. The right scheme is not there for this particular team defensively. You know what I mean? I can't tell you everything, all of OKC's schemes and stuff like that. You said, the league has passed them by and it's showing over and over and over and over again. We'll
kind
see.
of agree on that.
We'll see. I mean, defensively, I agree on it. The Knicks are 6-7 on the season. Did you expect them to be better than this at this point, Andy?
Listen,
record-wise?
I think, record-wise, I think, it's close enough. It's not that bad. It's not like 3-8 or something like that. So,
I mean, what was your expectation at this point in the season, though? About 6-7 or 7-6?
Yeah. So the record-wise, I'm kind of close. It's the style that we lose the games in.
Right. The
winning part, I'm gonna take each and every one win, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these kind of losses that we shown in versus the Nets versus the Thunder,
I agree.
It's kind of deflating, right?
I agree. And
that's
let me
the only
see.
case.
So far, how many games this season have we had double-digit leads? At least 2.
Oh, I think it was
maybe
more.
even more than that.
Yeah.
Right. There's been a few games that we've had double-digit leads and then lost them. Obviously, today against the Atlanta Hawks, there's at least one more. That game,
yeah, definitely more. So
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember, but I have to look back. There's at least one more. I think I want to keep track of it. There's at least one more game where we had a double-digit lead and then lost it. Most of them early leads, not late leads.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks will be going on to a 5-game West Coast road trip. They play the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, the Golden State Warriors, the Phoenix Suns, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a tough schedule for the Knicks. We'll see what they come out with. Their next game is Tuesday night. The Knicks play the Utah Jazz. Game time is at 9 p.m. All right. Then on Wednesday, so there's a back-to-back. On Wednesday, they play the Denver Nuggets. Then on Friday, they play the Warriors. Then on Sunday, they play the Suns. And then there's another back-to-back on Monday, the 21st. They play the Thunder once again. That's a lot of late nights. They can't be losing on these late nights now. Come on, man. It's a lot of late nights to stay up to watch them lose. We need some wins out there. All right, Andy. I appreciate your time, man. I don't know if you have anything else, but
always a pleasure, Sim.
Yeah, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on the front stoop, man. If you want to join us 10:30 tonight, if you have nothing else to do, I know you'll be getting ready for tomorrow, for work and all that stuff. But we're going to talk a little bit, I don't know, maybe a half an hour to an hour. 21 Savage said that Nas is not relevant. Yeah. So I want to talk about it a little bit. We got the little audio where he said it. If you want to join us, make sure you mark your calendars or whatever you want to say. 10:30 tonight, me and Tony be on. We'll get some other people on there too. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can save, I don't want to say save the date, save the time, whatever. Mark it on, click on the link and set yourself a notification. All right. Join us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be out of here. I'm out of here. I'll be out of here. I'm out of here. And I'll see you later on tonight if you're going to join us tonight. Peace.
Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.